Hey guys, Matt Marzillo here. In this video, we're going to be talking about a tool called Conditional Formatting in Microsoft Excel. And essentially, conditional formatting is a way to draw attention to certain values based on their size or their magnitude, right? So we want to highlight or draw attention to certain cells here. So we're working with the same data set from the previous video. This is the list of items used by hospital within a healthcare organization. And we want to highlight, you guessed, expensive items, right? So this column G is important to us. Again, we have our data set already set up in table, right? So we went into the actual data set and we formatted it as table, so we're already done with that step. But let's go ahead and highlight G. You can see right now we're sorted on primary surgeons, so we have the surgeons grouped together. But I want to draw attention to the more expensive items. So what I do is I highlight column G. We're in the Home tab, and then you go to the Styles section, up to Conditional Formatting, and we'll go to Color Scales, right? So now you see you have several options here to pick from. I generally stay with the green to red options. You can certainly play around with some of the other ones. That's more of your preference kind of a thing. And typically I associate green with good, red with bad, right? So this one's telling me the high items will be green, the low items will be red. But I don't want that. I want the high items to be red because they're bad. And I want the inexpensive items to be green because they're good. And all the items in the middle will be somewhere in the middle. And it's on a gradient scale. So let's click on that and see what happens. Okay, so what you see here is you see the low cost items will be in the green, the middle are yellow, and you can see how the color kind of grows from there, right? So now we can kind of scroll down here, and if we see a big splotch of red, oh, we did. Okay, that's maybe something we want to, okay, Dr. 22 is using an expensive component here. That's probably worth noting. Looks like we had a little smattering of red here. That's some pretty expensive items. Yeah, Dr. 2 is using some expensive components as well. So you can see when you apply the conditional formatting, it draws attention a lot easier than having to actually read the numbers. And it's also something that a lot of folks are impressed by, right? So I mean, hopefully you remember this when you're out there in the working world eventually, and you take 45 seconds and apply some conditional formatting, because you're really going to impress somebody one day with this. It's happened to me. I'm sure it'll happen to you. But before we get there, let's work on let's kind of show you some additional options we have. So first, let's clear what we have. So if you go to clear rules from selected cells. Okay, so now we're back to square one. Let's say instead of doing the color scales, we want to do some data bars. So we want to have a larger bar for those items that have a higher price, and there you go. Okay. Let's go ahead and sort this by cost, largest to small, so we can kind of see it. Yep. So you see the most expensive item fills up the entire cell, and it kind of goes down from there. So that's the way you conditional format with the bars. Pretty intuitive stuff right there. Okay, let's go ahead. Let's clear that. Go to conditional formatting, clear rules, clear from selected. Now let's say we want to just like highlight the top 25%. So let's go here to top bottom rules, click on top 10%, but we want to do 25. So you have it kind of defaults to top 10, but we want to do top 25%, and it's going to fill it in with light red, a light red fill and a dark red text. Okay, we have some different options here to pick from, but I think I want to stick with that one they gave us. Click OK. And as you scroll down, you can see here it's going to cut off eventually because we're only filling in the top 25% most expensive. Yep, so there you go, right? So let me unhighlight that so you can see it better. You can see, grab that. Yeah, so it looks like anything $1,400 or more is going to fall into the top 25 percentile in terms of price. Anything less than is going to fall into the bottom 75%. That's great. To tie this back to the previous video, you can also filter on color. I definitely mentioned that, but I'd like to show you. So if you go here to filter on color, selecting that drop down arrow, select filter on color, and select the pink, you'll see it cuts off everything that isn't pink, right? So now we're only looking at those top most expensive items. So anytime you have any sort of any fill or text colors on a group of cells, you can filter on that as well. Let's go ahead and clear that. Clear the filter. Okay, perfect. Okay, great. I want to show you one more conditional formatting option that we have. It doesn't quite make sense here, but it does for other things. Let's clear the formatting first. Clear rules. Okay. You have icon sets, right? So sometimes when you're looking at metrics or something like that, maybe you're producing a monthly metric that judges each hospital or judges each location or what have you. It makes sense to do like stoplight reports, right? Where if you select one of these options, and they're all kind of telling you the same thing, right? Whether it's arrows or actual stoplights or just kind of circles with colors. Let's do that one. It kind of gives you an indicator of, okay, the values right around the middle are all going to be yellow. The values all towards the bottom are going to be red, and the values all towards the top are going to be green. For this set, I think I prefer the color scales, but a lot of times, like I said, when you're working on metrics or things that are grading somebody out, it makes sense to have the green, the yellow, and the red, right? Let's say you're doing it based off of scores on a test. That makes a little bit more sense. So it's a good option to have. Okay, that's it for conditional formatting. Thanks for your time. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to shoot me an email. Thank you.